Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
You're watching Tesla Time News.
Episode 455.
Now you know. So Tesla just opened its first sales, service, and delivery center in New Hampshire. The 50,200 square foot building is located in Londonderry, New Hampshire, with plenty of service bays and 300 parking spaces. That's my favorite part.
We've been saying that this was needed for years because everyone up north has had to travel down from New Hampshire to Massachusetts.
Didn't we ride our e-bikes right up to this spot before? Isn't this right next to the Manchester airport?
Yeah, it's just on the other side of the runway of a bike trail. So you could take your car in, and while they're working on it, you could go for a walk.
Nice.
Or a bike ride. So that's an hour north of the Tesla Peabody location. So that's going to make a lot of people happy.
Good job, Tesla. And let's look at the largest supercharger in the world, shall we?
Where is this?
Lost Hills, California. 168 supercharger stalls, 11 megawatts of solar, both ground-mounted and canopies on 30 acres of land, 10 megapacks with 39 megawatt hours of storage, multiple pull-through stalls for those towing.
So these are just renders.
Correct, but it's scheduled to open later this year.
And so this is going to be bigger than Tesla's Harris Ranch supercharger site with 98 stalls?
Correct. Harris Ranch is currently Tesla's biggest supercharger site, but not for long.
Wow. I think this is cool because you actually get to see how much solar you need in order to power 168 Teslas. The FBI formed a domestic terrorism task force to investigate attacks on Tesla.
But depending on where you get your news, you might not have heard about this.
Out of hundreds of reporting sources Ground News analyzed, barely any are coming from more liberal outlets.
And if they are, they're shifting the focus to President Trump. But with a quick scroll, we easily found reporting calling for the violence to settle down.
This is the kind of partisan spin that fuels public division.
When news is filtered through political lenses, you don't get the truth. You get outrage and misguided attacks on innocent Tesla owners.
Especially when it comes to someone as polarizing as Elon Musk. There's only going to be more spin, more outrage, and more violence unless we have reliable sources of information.
That's exactly why we keep partnering with Ground News, an app and website that doesn't just show you the most important stories of our time, they show you the bias, credibility, and financial interests driving the different narratives.
Ground News was founded by a former NASA engineer with one mission in mind, to help people break free from echo chambers and see the full picture. And we just knew that our viewers would love what they've built.
From their interest feeds that help us track developments on the stories we bring you guys to their blind spot feed that surfaces other important stories one side of the spectrum is missing or ignoring, Ground News has truly become a better, smarter version of the doom scrolling that we were already doing.
Which is why we got our viewers 40% off the same unlimited access Vantage plan we've been using every day. That's just $5 a month for clarity and context when you go to ground.news/NYK or scan the QR code.
So Tesla posted this.
Imagine if electric cars emitted an invisible poison gas when you warmed them up in your garage. This is the reality of gas cars.
But of course, there were some who don't agree. Lucas Deakins Racing said, not to be a nerd, but electric cars are very heavy due to their, batteries, which means they produce a lot of brake dust, which is extremely harmful as well. Yes, gas cars do produce brake dust, but not the same amount. Also, when a battery finally gives up, it goes to the landfill. But then Sawyer Merritt said this.
A Model 3, an EV, weighs the same as a BMW 3 Series, a gas car. You almost never need to use your brakes on an EV due to regen braking, and batteries can be recycled, gasoline can't.
And Elon said, exactly.
And we'd like to go one step further, if we may, in debunking gas cars.
So in just 2 years, 2020 and 2021, 26 million cars were taken off the road and scrapped just here in the US.
Those 26 million cars drove 4.68 trillion miles. Do you know how much gasoline was burned during their lifetime?
234 billion gallons of gasoline.
I'm just here for the gasoline.
And do you know how much money was spent by the owners of those gas cars buying gasoline during their lifetimes?
$641 billion. Do you know how much money they would have saved just on the gasoline if those cars had been Teslas?
$496 billion would have been saved.
$500 billion just for those 2 years worth of cars.
Now do you see just one of the reasons why they don't want you to drive an electric car? Rivian posted this. We're proud to share that our founder and CEO, RJ Scaringe, has been named Executive Disruptor of the Year for Newsweek's World's Greatest Auto Disruptors Awards.
And Holmar's catalog said, what exactly have they disrupted?
Well, there's the Yeti that watches over your Rivian.
Oh, and there's the tonneau cover on the R1T?
Yeah, the one that we were afraid to use because it would jam and break, and now they've discontinued it because it doesn't work reliably.
But Tesla's Cybertruck has one, and you can stand on it, and it has worked flawlessly for us for about a year or so.
But I mean, he's the greatest disruptor, so good job. I wonder how much Rivian's paid in Newsweek advertising to get that award.
And you just go like, well, we can't do Elon because that would be too controversial.
So Subaru has unveiled their latest EV, the Trail Seeker.
That looks highly photoshopped. And what's up with the front end?
You don't like the black plastic there? It looks like it was in an accident.
Also, in this picture of the interior, I mean, that UI looks 10 years old. But, maybe you'll impress me with the stats.
No, I don't think you're going to be impressed with the stats. The Subaru Trail Seeker, launching in early 2026, features a 74.7 kilowatt hour battery with an estimated range of over 260 miles, 375 horsepower, 0 to 60 time of 4.4 seconds. It offers up to 150 kilowatts of DC fast charging, a standard NACS port, 8.3 inches of ground clearance, a towing capacity of 3,500 pounds, and is over 6 inches longer and an inch taller than the Subaru Solterra, with pricing and detailed specs to be announced closer to the launch.
Okay, so we don't know the price.
No.
I'll start with the positives.
Good.
0 to 60 of 4.4 seconds sounds pretty peppy. Mm-hmm. That's probably going to be for their top-end model. But
the limited edition.
But let's not talk about that. Who knows what the base one gets. NACS port. Mm-hmm. Nice. Mm-hmm. The 3,500 pounds of towing sounds okay. You're not going to tow a boat.
Probably also on the limited edition, but yep.
True. But that probably means, they're Subaru owners, so they're going to want the bike hitch.
Yep.
So you could put a pretty beefy bike hitch on that. That sounds good. 260 miles of range. It's a doable range, and especially with the Supercharger network.
I don't think if you're trail seeking in the cold, that's a good range, but whatever.
And then you have the 150 kilowatts of charging speed, so you're back to 2016 levels of charging speed on the Supercharger network, so you're just going to be taking twice as long at the Supercharger. Overall, I'm not really impressed.
But Subarus are confidence in motion.
Okay, I mean, confidence in motion. Yeah. I'm confident that I'm not interested in it. I'm not going to get this. I know people will.
Comment down below what you think.
There will be people who get it. They're going to be like,
sure.
Well, I just couldn't get a Model Y. I wouldn't want to have better stats.
It's time for the Cybertruck Roundup.
Yeehaw! The Cybertruck Roundup.
And Cybertruck posted, got my Halo.
Wait, that's the light bar.
That's the light bar that we were promised on the Foundation series.
Foundation series, we've been waiting. Do you think that Tesla's going to be shipping our Foundation series light bar?
I didn't see it available on the website. That could be a good thing or a bad thing.
Maybe something good.
Could be good, meaning they're going to ship it to Foundation series owners first.
Maybe something bad.
Yeah.
Or it could mean only that Cybertruck got its Halo. I don't know.
I guess we'll never know.
Interesting.
Nick Cruz-Patane said, how does one end up in this situation? Just shows how strong the battery pack is, LOL. Yeah.
So they drove.
I don't know how they got up there.
And then that's congratulations.
I mean, it's almost like it was being shown off.
I thought this was a video game.
Yeah, I mean, that's a broken light pole, but so I don't know how you get it up on there. But that's Brooklyn for you.
Oh, okay.
All right, it's time for some SpaceX news. And as ABC News reported on Monday, Blue Origin's all-female crew completed their trip into space Monday morning. The flight lasted around 11 minutes and traveled more than 60 miles above Earth.
Now, we haven't seen it. I want to see it myself.
1, 2, 3, take up space!
And The Observer reported, Lauren Sanchez's all-female space flight is about to blast off and will challenge Elon Musk's SpaceX. But Space Seduer said, challenge SpaceX? What? How? Can you help me, Jesse, understand something? Why is the Blue Origin space capsule that just came back from space so clean, and yet the SpaceX capsule is so dirty? Does Blue Origin have some kind of advanced technology paint?
Scott Manley actually explained this. He said, it only flew at Mach 3, fast enough to reach space for a moment, not fast enough to stay in space. For that, you need Mach 25. As you can imagine, that there's a huge difference in kinetic energy between those speeds.
Can you explain it in like less technical terms?
Andy Phillips has got you covered. He said, no orbit equals less burning.
And I like this meme. Those two astronauts who were stuck for 8 months watching Katy Perry kiss the ground after being in space for 10 minutes.
And look, everyone wants to hate on this mission. That's fine. You can hate on this mission. If anybody gets more interested in space because they got to see Katy Perry in space for 10 minutes, I think that that's great. I think that that's a good thing. Whether or not it was fake or not, that's whatever.
I'm fine with all that. It's just that the press covered it to no end.
Great.
And it was in space for 11 minutes, whereas when SpaceX sends people to do amazing things into space, it's crickets.
Well, there's two things, right? People hear about something and they go, oh, that's neat. And then there's other people who actually get interested in it. They want to learn more. Anyone who goes to learn more is going to go, okay, so they went up and down, and SpaceX capsules go around the whole Earth and can then go off to Mars and Venus and do whatever they want. That's going to be the important thing. And I think that if they're going to go like, oh my God, Katy Perry went into space, maybe I'm going to think about being an astronaut, or I'm going to think about space travel in general. Great. That's great.
Good to see you so positive. And it appears that Germany is not impressed with Starlink. Germany's military, the Bundeswehr, plans to develop its own satellite constellation by 2029 to rival SpaceX's Starlink, aiming for independent wartime communications and reduced reliance on foreign networks.
Oh, really? Germany's just going to make their own satellite network? Now, I mean, nobody but SpaceX has been able to do it at all, but Germany's going to pull it off in 4 years?
That's what they said.
Good luck, guys. You got this.
It's a Starlink killer. All right, it's time for Into the Future, sponsored by our friends at Henson Shaving.
If you want to get the best razor on earth, simply head over to hensonshaving.com. And if you put that box of 100 blades in your cart and use the code Now You Know at checkout, you will get those blades for free.
Escape into the future.
Tesla Insurance has launched a new voice AI agent available to all its customers that they built in-house.
Tesla Insurance says this new chatbot will improve customer support.
Tesla Insurance customers will no longer need to speak with a human to make basic policy changes.
And Arthur said, just got off the phone with Tesla Insurance. They have a fancy new AI voice chatbot. I was actually unsure if this was an AI or a real person for most of the call. The only giveaway was the speed of the answers. It allowed me to ask complicated questions and even clarifications on certain things. Mind blown.
Which is different than most insurance companies that you call up and say, press 1 to talk to somebody who has to do nothing to do with what you want. Press 2 to hear these options in Spanish.
And now Grok remembers. Grok posted, Grok now remembers your conversations. When you ask for recommendations or advice, you'll get personalized responses. Elon posted a brain, and then Dodrick says, how do you turn off this feature and get a fresh perspective?
Elon said, good question. We will make an incognito mode where no data is stored locally or server side. Maybe we'll call it blank slate, aka tabula rasa.
And it's time for Going Green.
We've reported on the Bargersville, Indiana Police Department a few times before.
This is the police department that has 13 Teslas in their fleet, right?
Right. Police Chief Bertram started in 2019 by getting one Tesla Model 3 police car for his 16-officer police department, and he's been adding more ever since.
Okay, so I knew this already, so why are we talking about it?
Well, it's now been less than 5 years, and Chief Bertram says, I couldn't even begin to say how much money the department has saved. Since 2020, I'd say we've been saving about $70,000 to $80,000 a year from having our vehicles, and the more cars we get, the more savings too.
So if you do the math, then these Tesla squad cars have saved his department almost $500,000 in maintenance and repairs.
Yeah, get this. Bertram says that he remembers getting a monthly gas bill in June 2024 that was more than $3,100 for 4 Ford gas cars. That same month, he said, it cost just $300 to charge all 13 electric vehicles.
The chief also said they've never had to replace any brakes on the Teslas. That repair on gas cars can run between $1,200 and $1,500.
And he says that unlike his gas cars, his department hasn't experienced any issues or concerns with their Teslas except for one repair that was under warranty, saying, but keep in mind, time down means another car is getting worked twice as hard. That Tesla's turnaround time was only 3 days, and it was covered under warranty, which means we didn't have to pay. Compare that to a gas vehicle that had to stay in the shop for a week.
So share these stories with your police department and your town councils about how much money they could be saving.
Not to mention the air pollution they won't be making.
And Teslas are the safest cars on the road, so don't you want your police officers driving them? All right, we're back from our Patreon bonus stories. It's time for Elon's X's of the Week. The Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, gave a credit card update. The program to audit unused, unneeded credit cards has been expanded to 30 agencies. After 7 weeks, about 470,000 cards have been deactivated. As a reminder, at the start of the audit, there were 4.6 million active cards and accounts, so still more work to do.
Elon said twice as many credit cards are issued and active than the total number of government employees. Crazy.
Tesla posted, one day it'll drive itself right to your house.
Elon said, this year.
Charlie Kirk posted a new study has uncovered over $100 million in foreign dark money laundered into the U.S. political system via the 1630 Fund, pushing far-left ballot initiatives in 25 states. That's just the tip of the iceberg. It's time to ban foreign election interference.
Elon says good chance that a lot of this money originates as U.S. foreign aid that then makes its way back here via intermediaries.
Elon then posted that TMZ is way greater than the Wall Street Journal. And then Elon said those who oppose proof of citizenship for voting are traitors to America. All right, it's time for Supercharger Reviews. Let's see what people have found out there in the world.
Hey, Zach and Jesse. I'm here in Fresno, California, next to the university, and we're at a 32-stall supercharger with plenty of amenities. On the other side of this building, there are restaurants and a brewery, and then we got a movie theater over here, and then over there is like a grocery store, and it's a very nice area. One thing I did want to point out, I had never been to these kind of superchargers before, but basically they're locked in, and so what you do is you pull up your car right next to it and line it up with the charger. You press the button, your charge port will open up, and then this will unlock and you can plug it right in. Yeah, and it'll tell you what side to charge on and what side not to charge on. So yeah, that was something different, interesting I've never dealt with before. But yeah, and I would rate this probably 7 out of 10. Has great amenities. Now you know.
Hey, Zach and Jesse, this is Stan. I'm on a 2,000-mile road trip from central Wisconsin, heading down to Orange Beach, Alabama, down by Pensacola, Florida, on the Gulf. So now we're at a Casey Jones Village, old country store in Jackson, Tennessee. 16 superchargers. So old 150s and one bank of 250s. I'm getting almost 250 kilowatts for the first time on this trip in this cold, so I'm gonna give this one an 8 out of 10. Now you know.
Thank you so much for doing Supercharger Reviews. Check out our map on our website, nowyouknowchannel.com. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Next week is going to be a little interesting. We have Easter on Sunday, so we're going to move the show to Monday. And then Tuesday night is Tesla earnings, so expect a video up on Wednesday morning.
Yeah, got to change your schedule around.
So a little bit of a wacky week, but we'll get back to normal on Thursday.
Now you know.